Hi. Good morning. How is everybody today?
Present.
Present? Okay. All right. How's James?
He's seeing his daughter in
Seeing his-
Allen down South Carolina,
Oh, okay.
wherever that may be.
Okay. All right. So,
I don't know.
okay. Well, that would do it. So, sorry, I should have already opened this. But, okay. Well, tell him we were asking about him. We see him or talk to him. Pam's not feeling well today, so she's at home. She had a major migraine last night, and now she's got migraine hangover this morning, and yeah, so she's just not well. So and whatever. So, but it kind of did me good in one respect. No, man, I'm not going to say that because I'll have to edit. Yeah, yeah. So, but no, we were at the mall yesterday, and she thinks something at the mall that she did started the headache, and it just got worse and worse. So, but I don't know. So, yeah, she tried one of those massage chairs. I'll say it. She tried one of those massage chairs. You put a few dollars in, it gives you a massage and whatever. And she's done it before, and she liked them or whatever. And she wanted me to try the other one that was sitting there. So I tried the other one, and I was like, this is too rough for me. I can't. No, I don't like this and stuff. And so, but she was. But and then right after that, she started to get a headache and whatever, and it was a little rough on her. The chair she was in was a little rough on her too. So I just, I don't know. So
Does she drink a lot of water?
no.
I was like, say if you get massages, especially in rough, you have to drink water to fix them.
Oh
Because
really?
it releases toxin as it erupts,
Okay.
so you can get really sick.
Okay.
I get them once a month, and yeah, you have to drink.
Okay.
You have to flush out that stuff back out.
Okay. Even if it's one of them fake chair ones.
If it's as hard as your thing.
Oh yeah, it was
probably
it was
still
rough.
do the thing.
Yeah. I almost, when you get 6 minutes or something like that for $3 or whatever, and I almost got up out of it in the middle of it, and I was just like, nope, not wasting my money. Not, So, but 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 she said hers wasn't. She didn't think hers was that rough, but then she thinks that's what kind of induced the headache and stuff, and I can see that. So, but she had been talking about potentially getting. Because Amazon sells them naturally, and she's been talking about possibly getting one for the house. And after last night, she said something this morning. I said, "So you still shopping for one of those?" Oh no, I don't want one at all. Nope. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It saved me. So But anyway, but we'll be remembering her. Miss Linda's not here this morning, so she's she's just not here. We're gonna we're recording, so you might want to so but yeah, but yeah, so we'll be praying for her as well. So, but anyway, so Jody's out there sweating doing security. So oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's what I used to do. Yeah. When I would be out there, I'd go sit in my car and park in such a way I could see all the doors and everything. So, but yeah. So, but anyways, okay. So I'm not going to be here next week. Woody's teaching for me. It doesn't mean nobody needs to come. Okay. But and so Woody's going to be teaching. So we finished up Hebrews 11 Hall of Faith last week, and I didn't really want to get started into something else and then not be here for a week and whatever. So we're just going to talk about a parable today. The parable of the talents in Matthew 25 and stuff. So, parables are always a good thing to look at and see. And basically, a parable is a story that portrays I don't want to say a moral, but it makes a point, a realistic human point and whatnot. So that's not a good description, but that's how Jesus used them. He taught with parables so that, he did talk about these stories, and then that way there people would understand what he was talking about, but it made a heavenly, an eternal point. And so that's what he did. And so, okay, so we're going to do verses 14 through 30. And it says, "For the kingdom of heaven is like a man traveling to a far country, who called his own servants and delivered his goods to them. And to one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, and to another 1, to each according to his own ability. And immediately he went on a journey. Then he who had received the 5 talents went and traded with them and made another 5 talents. And likewise he who had received 2 gained 2 more also. But he who had received 1 went and dug in the ground and hid the Lord's money. After a long time the Lord of those servants came and settled accounts with them. So he who had received 5 talents came and brought 5 other talents, saying, Lord, you delivered me 5 talents. Look, I have gained 5 more talents besides them. The Lord said to him, Well done, good and faithful servant. You are faithful over a few things. I will make you ruler over many things. Enter into the joy of your Lord. He also, who had received 2 talents, came and said, Lord, you delivered me 2 talents. Look, I have gained 2 more talents beside them. His Lord said to him, Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a few things. I will make you ruler over many things. Enter into the joy of your Lord. Then he who had received 1 talent came and said, Lord, I knew you to be a hard man, reaping where you have not sown and gathering where you had not scattered seed. And I was afraid and went and hid your talent in the ground. Look, there you have what is yours. But his Lord answered him and said, You wicked and lazy servant, you knew that I reap where I have not sown and gathered where I have not scattered seed. So you ought to have deposited my money with the bankers. At my coming, I would have received back my own with interest. So take the talent from him and give it to the one who has 10 talents. For everyone who has more will be given, and he will have abundance, but from him who does not have, even what he has will be taken away. And cast the unprofitable servant into outer darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Does this seem kind of harsh to treat the guy who just went and protected the money?
He called him lazy.
Yeah, he did. Called him
And
lazy.
He's lazy.
What now?
And he's lazy. He does crop that he didn't plant or
Yeah.
none of that.
Yeah. So, but yeah. So, it might seem kind of harsh, right? What do you guys draw from this?
Better
Just to
safe
start
than
with.
sorry.
Better safe than sorry?
He was
Okay.
scared that he'd lose.
Well, yeah, that guy was, but he was deemed to not be
Why?
that right, not be wise. So is it better to be safe than sorry, or is it better to try to be productive with it? And
If it was your money, yeah.
okay, yeah.
You messing with somebody else.
Yeah. So yeah. Okay. All right. Anybody else? Any other takes on it?
So I see it more as symbolism, not so much money, but more of a talent or a blessing that God gave you. That gave you the ability to speak, so then you should be speaking and saying the word, not hiding your talent, laying around in your bedroom, watching TV. He gave you this talent, you need to use it. So I see it more not money, but what God gave you.
Right. That's pretty well spot on, as to what you know. So yeah, okay, all right. We are all given abilities, and we are all told to use them to spread the Great Commission. Okay, some of us can teach and be in front of large groups of people. Some of us can preach and be in larger groups of people and can be the shepherd of a flock and things like that. Some of us are just called to help out, you know, do hospitality things and try to help make people feel welcome. And we all have our own gifts and talents from the Lord. But the question is, are you using them for you, or are you using them for God? Those that have, and I'm not saying that we don't need teachers in school and to teach kids and stuff like that, but you know, I just pray that those that have the talent from God, you know, the talent to teach, and that God, and that are believers, that they will be making a difference, trying to have an influence on the kids that they teach, the people that they teach. Right? We're all placed in different situations. God has us in different places where we should be working and serving Him, doing for Him. Okay? So the expression bloom where you're planted, wherever God has you planted, whether it's in a hair salon, hearing a lot of possibly true, possibly untrue stuff throughout the town, you know, or, you know, being a teacher or being a public servant in the, you know, police, fire, EMS, you know, all that stuff, being a nurse, any of it, being, you know, I'm even somebody like me that I'm working in a warehouse. I got people around me that I work with every day. Am I using the talents that God has given me to reach those people, to be the example that God wants me to be, to set that example? Or am I wasting it? So, do you think God asks too much of you? No? No? Okay. That's the wrong one. Um, Verse 15, it says, and the one he gave 5 talents, another one 2, and another one 1, to each according to his own ability. And immediately he went on a journey. Isn't this a picture of God? That God has given us these abilities? But he's given them, he doesn't give somebody that going to have a hard time with 1 talent, he doesn't give them 5 and expect them to do amazing things with it. He asks us, he puts us in places and gives us the abilities based on what we can do. And who better than God to know what we can do, what we can't do? But is there a willingness? Or are we just going to take that talent and protect it and say, no, this is for me. I'm going to keep this for myself. And that way there, when he comes back, I can say, look, I didn't screw this up to you. I didn't make a mistake. I didn't, you know, because what's one big fear, or excuse me, let's put it this way. What are some fears people have about sharing their faith? Rejection. Yep. What's some others? One big one for me is not having an answer to a question somebody might ask.
Yes, so you have that answer.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, that's nice. See, you're using your talents of
Just wanna help you.
Okay, yeah, that's good.
Be able to have that,
Okay. So, but yeah, and so a lot of people will not share their faith. Rejection is a big one, but also because they're nervous that somebody's going to ask them something and they're not going to be able to tell them, and they're afraid of making a mistake and telling them something wrong.
Some just don't want to hear it.
Well, that too. Yeah. Outright rejection. Exactly. Some, like Juan was saying last week, is that when the seed is scattered, 25% of the soil is only going to receive it. And of that 25%, then another quarter or whatever of that is actually gonna be fertile and grow, and the rest of it's just maybe grow a little bit, but it's not gonna, so along that parable, I was kind of leaning towards that parable till he preached it last week, and then I said, well, I got to do a different one this week. So but yeah, so but yeah, so but that's, so we're gonna have rejection. We're gonna be told, I don't want to hear that, or that I think I'm a good person, and so God's going to let me into heaven. What you got, Mr. Hank?
Bruce,
Yeah.
I'm thinking that my main rejection is my own family. It hurts.
Mm-hmm.
There's about 11 grown-up people in my biological family that know all about Jesus, but they're saying, no, come on, Dad. We've heard all that stuff before. Please, give me a break. And that's how interested they are. And I say, oh,
Yeah.
But
Yep.
I talked to Pastor Danny about that one day, and he said, yeah, he said, that's the problem. He said, basically, he said, just let them know for sure that you love them. Make that very, very clear,
Right.
and not, and then just use your own judgment and as the Lord leads as far as witnessing to them, because like they said, yeah, we know all about that already.
Mm-hmm.
How
Yeah.
you gonna witness to somebody like that? We don't need to do that anymore. Come on.
Right. And witnessing to our own families is really, really hard because they know us the best. They know us when we were at our worst. They knew us when we weren't walking with the Lord. They knew us, and they know all the mistakes we've made too. And so it's hard for them. Jesus wasn't even accepted. His brothers, his half brothers, the actual children of Mary and Joseph, brothers and sisters, didn't believe Jesus until after the resurrection. And then most, if not all, were in the upper room on the day of Pentecost that they believed. And one of them wrote the book of James. That wasn't a disciple that read, one of the disciples. It was two Jameses, I think, that in the disciples, but neither one of them wrote that book. It was his brother. And I think his brother Jude wrote that book too. And so, you don't know, and I can speak like to what you're saying, Mr. Hank, and please don't take the example my mother set for me, because I was, my 20s, I was prodigal. I wasn't walking with the Lord at all. I was doing my own thing, and living my own way, and didn't want nothing to do. My mother kept encouraging me to go to a church and get in church and do, everything, and I wasn't having it. But then later on, as I grew older, and sadly for me, it was after she passed, and I was remembering her life and the example that she set in being that bold Christian all the time. She made mistakes. I knew her mistakes, or I knew a lot of her mistakes. Her and I really had something. We would get into arguments when I was one of them 20-year-olds that thought he knew everything and stuff, and so, but, and she made a mistake, and I was just like, why would you do that? And stuff. But in any case, I knew some of what she had done, but I also remembered her as being a godly woman that was always reading her Bible and wanted to pray and insisted that even when my father wasn't saved in the beginning of their marriage, and quite a ways through their marriage until he died, he became saved in the last 8 or so years of his life, but she insisted that she be allowed to go to church, and any children would go with her. And she didn't drive, so that meant he had to get up on Sunday mornings and take us to church and then come back and pick us up afterwards. And so, and she did that. She made such a stand that she did that. And I remembered that. I looked, and I looked back, and as I got older and I matured, and I was just like, stuff's not right here. And then, like I say, for me, it was after she passed. And so hopefully your kids will come around before you pass and you get to see the fruit of that, because my mom didn't get to see the fruit of me coming, me coming back and what I'm doing now. I truly hope she's looking down on me, but, and at least somewhat happy with what I'm doing. But yeah, so, but hopefully that'll be the case. But, but it is hard. It's difficult. We get so nervous and so worried about rejection and not knowing the right answers. And there's so many more things that, people could, more than just rejection. Are we scared that we're going to lose something? We're going to be shunned? We're going to be, here in this country right now, we would be socially outcast if, somebody cancels us or whatever they want to call it now. But other countries, people are getting killed for this. So, but the main point of this parable is that we are to use the gifts that God has given us. Okay? Now, verse 29 says, "But to everyone who has, more will be given, and he will have abundance. But from him who does not have, even what has been given will be taken away." So, does this mean we're supposed to have a lot of stuff? Have a lot of money? In this case, it's talking about money. Are we supposed to have a lot of money?
Money is the root of all evil. The love of money.
The love of money is, yes. Money is, it is, you know, necessary in society, but, okay? And we see a lot of people in the church that have worked hard and are wealthy, and is that wrong? Not necessarily, no.
No,
They've been blessed with a lot because of their work and how hard they've gone out and taken the 5 talents, and they've got 5 more talents. Okay?
yeah.
But if they're using that, keeping it for themselves, and not being generous and being helpful to others, is that a problem? If God blesses you with a whole lot of stuff, you know, a lot of money. Let's just keep it on money. That's an easy one to talk about. If God blesses you with a lot of money and you're not being generous and giving, helping the needy and helping people, you know, and giving to the church and giving to missions and giving to things like that, what's going to happen? It tells us in this will be taken away. Him who does nothing with it, what he has will be taken. It'll be taken away from him. So yes, even though we work hard and we use the talents and and God takes care of us and blesses us in many ways, we still need to continue to be willing to follow and to do what God is calling us to do. And if we have a heart of doing that, then it shouldn't be a problem for us. Does that make sense? Everybody? Yes? Yeah. Okay.
And my Bible's got the note on that same verse right there. It says the main point of the parable, being ready for Christ's coming, involves more than playing it safe and doing little or nothing. It
Right.
demands the kind of service that produces results.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Demands the kind of service that produces results because we know he is coming back. And we know that our life also will end at some point, even if it ends before he comes back. It may be 2,000 more years before he comes back. And none of us will be here to see it. Except for John. But he's not even in here for that. So yeah. So you know, use the talents, use the spiritual gifts that God has given you. We've all been given something. Okay, where the new church year is coming up, we got different committees and places where people can serve. Are you using your talents for God, or are you just holding on to it?
Perfect plug. And stuff, like, depending on what channel you watch on TV, the commercials are always relevant, like that type of what you're watching.
Mm.
So the homework is always older things on that channel, or, you know, football is usually more food places, and then it's fun,
Beer.
you know.
Food and beer.
It's just,
Yeah.
it's a perfect little
Yeah.
commercial break.
Yeah, there you go. So, you know, but yeah. So, but we're, you know, so, all right. So, isn't it? Thank you. So good questions, thoughts, comments? Besides the commercial.